If you were to go back to when you were in either high school or college, what is the best piece of advice you would give to your younger self?
The best piece of advice, for a little bit of context, I was an athlete, right? So my high school focus was on sports, played sports in college, was very good at it. If I could go back, if I had a time machine, I would try to put more effort into learning computer science and business topics, like those two, because I work in tech right now, so I deal with it all the time. I had kind of a late start, but if I could talk to myself, I'd say, hey, sports are great and they're important because they'll get you to college, but focus a little bit more time in these areas as well.
Absolutely. And what exactly are you doing in IT right now?
I work for Google. I'm on kind of the sales side. So what we do is we help customers really make the most out of their data investments. They have data, but they can't really make sense of it. Sometimes it's siloed across the organization. It's our job to come in there to figure out how to bring it into one place, how to apply analytics to it, and how to use that for real business value.
Absolutely. And how can someone crush it in sales in 2022?
Man, the sales game has changed a lot. I would say that from my personal experience, I've had the most success by being a technical seller. So really having a deep kind of understanding of the product, which is the cloud ecosystem, having a deep understanding of data analytics, where the space is going. I think those things give you an unfair advantage, but there are other ways to crush it, right? A lot of my counterparts are less technical and they still do very good, but they're very curious and they've doubled down on whatever their unfair advantage is. Like some of them are just incredibly personable and funny and they've doubled down on that. For me, I had a lot of technical expertise and background from college, so I doubled down on that.
Yeah. Great answer. And I just had two last questions. This is a fun one that we've been asking people. If you had to start from zero and you had 1 year to make $1 million and your life depended on it, what would you do? With everything you know now, starting from zero.
If starting at zero, I would try to... 1 year is tough, right? If my timeline was 3 years, I would try and join a startup in ML and AI because that's what I have a lot of passion in, that's what my skill set is in, and that's what I enjoy working with. If I had just 1 year, that's a very aggressive timeline. Internet businesses are great, but in my opinion, fast money isn't always long-term money. So I would still try and double down on a startup, maybe a late-stage startup in that ML AI space, see what they're doing and see where I can add value.
I love that. Yeah. And then this is just my last question. From what you've seen in the business world, whether it's a certain skill set or attribute for people to, how can someone become wealthy in 2022?
There's a lot of challenges, obviously. There's a lot of uncertainty with the economy, what's happening politically, what's happening globally. There's whispers of war. There's a lot of uncertainty. In my opinion, if you want to be wealthy, the thing to double down on is, I think, if you're smart, you can't go wrong, right? I mean, there's more to it, the equation than that. You got to be smart, but you also have to have other characteristics like courage, which is very important and underrated. But generally speaking, if you're smart and if you're very knowledgeable and if you get deep on one topic, then there's ways to make money, right? If you harness and focus your skills and get really good at one area or a couple areas of expertise, there's going to be ways to make money in that area. So go deep.
And what industry would that be in 22? Do you think people should really be focusing in on?
I think anything that tech touches. Honestly, I mean, people like crypto. I'm interested in it, although it's not the space I'm in. I'm more in cloud technology and data analytics. I think that's a great space to be in. It's a very fast-growing space. But there's also Web 3.0. I mean, really anything that tech touches. And a lot of it I don't even know, which is happening right now, right? Which is kind of coming up that I'll be shocked and surprised about maybe 6 months from now to a year from now, thinking, man, I should have gotten into this early. But I think really anything that tech touches, because software is eating the world. I mean, it's kind of a cliche at this point, but it's very true. Yeah, so I would say that's a safe bet.
Do you think money buys happiness?
No, not at all. After college, I traveled for a couple of years, internationally, and that was some of the best times of my life, and I did that with little to no money. So money does not buy happiness, but there's a flip side to it as well. Generally speaking, when you have money, you have the freedom to pursue other things. So there's different ways to achieve happiness, right? If you could focus on what you love, and I think you'll always be happy doing that, but sometimes that's not always what makes the most money, or you can double down on trying to make the most money, and then after you make all this money, focusing on things that you're more interested in. So money does not necessarily equal happiness, but if you're smart, you can use money in a way to achieve a happy life.